When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome along at the first NASCAR Whelen Euro Series weekend of the year is already in full swing, and we get started with the NASCAR Pro category, which will be racing in just a few moments. We look forward to bringing you all of the action as we get this season underway at the circuit, Ricardo, Tormo. As you can see, fairly nice weather conditions. I understand it's quite hot at the circuit, even though it's not perfectly sunny. We do have some cloud cover over the circuit, but Andre Viegold and some of the crew letting me know that it is still quite warm out there at the circuit. Or rather outside at least. I've got some shade, but you see the cars already heading down to the track here, or to the starting grid, and that is one of the cars we'll be watching intently, the number 54 machine from Cal Racing. Of course, Gianmarco Ercole, one to watch later on. So these cars will get the command to start engines in about 36 minutes time, as you can see on your screen. Of course, in the build to this race, we are going to hear from a lot of our drivers, courtesy of the efforts of our man on the ground, Andre Viegold, and we will hear from all manner of personalities. Of course, the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers also make their way down there to greet some of the fans that make their way onto the circuit for a bit of a grid walk. The accessibility at EuroNASCAR events is second to none, and a lot of people are going to get the opportunity to look at these cars up close and personal before we get this race started. The story of qualifying in EuroNASCAR Pro was very much about progression from EuroNASCAR 2 into EuroNASCAR Pro. We saw the front row of the grid in our previous shot. Our pole sitter Vladimir Osiortsis in his first EuroNASCAR Pro start. He will be on pole position alongside last year's EuroNASCAR 2 champion Liam Hasemans. Of course, Hasemans has already had some events under his belt in EuroNASCAR Pro. He only missed one round in EuroNASCAR Pro last year. That was actually here at Valencia. But Siortsis and indeed Liam Hasemans, both in their first full seasons of EuroNASCAR Pro. There we see Vladimir Siortsis. They put the Cyprus flag on the bonnet for him. He was delighted this morning. Not only did he get EuroNASCAR Pro pole position, he also succeeded in repeating the feat in EuroNASCAR 2 quali just a few moments later. And between sessions, he was also being talked to and having an interview with Andre Viegold. So in the space of about 45 minutes, he did media commitments twice and took 2 pole positions, which was very impressive indeed from the Cypriot driver. Always cool, calm and collected. Liam Hasemans, though, he will be not feeling the pressure from the outside of the front row, I feel, at least not until we get into the meat of it. And you see there his brother Loris with him as well. Loris Hasemans acting as a driver coach to both Liam and also to Gil Linster, who is sharing that 50 car and running it in EuroNASCAR 2. If you are unfamiliar with EuroNASCAR, these cars will largely appear in both races, with one driver in EuroNASCAR Pro and then another in EuroNASCAR 2, although some drivers do double up, including this man, Vladimir Siortsis, who's also doubled up on pole positions.
Thank you so much, Adam. Yes, you wrote EuroNASCAR history in sweeping the pole positions in both championships. Qualifying is one thing, a race win is definitely another thing. What is your plan today?
Yeah, sure. My plan is, of course, to keep the way that we started earlier this morning. Keep pushing, consistency, and yes, I will give my best.
You won already here. What are the key points to win a race at Circuit with Ricardo, Tormo?
Consistency.
That's it.
Yeah, and being fast, okay.
In the qualifying, we had a little bit more shadows, more clouds on the sky. Now the heat is growing and growing and growing. The temperatures are rising. Is this a factor in this race?
Sure, no, because we had similar conditions last year. Of course, each driver have to protect its tires in order to be consistent until the end of the race. So all the keys from yesterday, we have them on place. So yeah, keep pushing.
Thank you so much. Have fun, good luck, and consistency is key.
So then 32 minutes left until we get this one started. We'll hear from a lot more of our drivers. But Vladimir Osiortis, as Andre alluded to, writing EuroNASCAR history this morning with 2 pole positions in the same morning, getting pole for both the EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro categories. He's had a win before in EuroNASCAR 2. That was here at Valencia. It was his only win last year. He'll be looking to take another victory in the 2023 season at the very beginning, if he possibly can. There's Liam Hazeman's car alongside, and I believe that is Liam doing some signatures, if I'm not mistaken, or is that Gil? No, I think that's Gil Linster doing some duties as well with the pen, and plenty of signatures have been obtained by that particular member of the paddock, or that fan. There's Martin Dubek's number 7 car. Dubek with a decent qualifying performance. He will line up in 15th place, but I'm sure he'd aspire towards the top 10. Oh, look who it is, Hollywood Liam Hazeman. So let's go down to him.
It was a good start into the season, right?
Yeah, it couldn't start better. I mean, with George is in first place, you know, like EuroNASCAR 2 drivers stepping up to pro and immediately on the front row. So yeah, couldn't have been better. And yeah, I mean, it was so close, you know. I think we had a difference of like 600ths of a second. So yeah, just awesome to start the season like this.
How are you enjoying this NASCAR Valencia Fan Fest so far?
Oh, for now it's like awesome, like usual. I mean, we see more and more people coming every year, and yeah, no, it's good for the future of EuroNASCAR. I mean, when you see it, last year we had already 17,000 people, I think, on track, and this year I think we're expecting even more. So yeah, just awesome for the series to grow like this. Oh, just awesome thing.
How is it? I saw there was a kid sitting in your car right before a race.
Yeah.
Have you seen something in other racing series in your life?
No, definitely. If you want to come and have a seat in the car, then come to EuroNASCAR.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck.
No worries. Thanks, bro.
Liam Hazeman's is always a live wire in the paddock, and as he said, unprecedented fan access. Some of the youngsters do get to sit in the car here on the grid before we even just moments before we get started in a proper racing capacity, which is unheard of. But it's wonderful that we get such access to our fans. There you see the 18 car, Giorgio Maggi's machine. Giorgio, of course, always a competitor. Last year was the junior classification topper, and will be looking to move up the order and challenge for an overall title this year. Maggi will be the 3rd of the juniors, though, for this race, because both Tsiortis and Hazeman's are registered in the junior category. Maggi will start from 6th position alongside Sebastian Blekemolen on the rolling start. We saw some work going on under one of the bonnets, which hopefully isn't too bad of a sign. Didn't quite catch which car that was, but there was some work going on there on one of the other cars. We head down, though, to Sebastian Blekemolen and Andre.
Thank you so much. Sebastian Blekemolen, last year you grabbed your first win. Now we have a new season. What are your goals?
Well, to improve my results from last year, of course. But yeah, the season started pretty well with P5. We were P1 in the qualifying session, but in Super I missed some tenths. But anyway, I'm quite happy with where we are at the moment with the team, and Vittorio, my new teammate, on the P3. So I think we can gain a lot of points this weekend.
I have to ask, do you think the 69 and the 72 car championship material in 2023?
Yes, for sure.
For sure. That's an answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
definitive answer, I will say, from Sebastian Bleekemolen. And good reason to be optimistic as well. It's a mighty driver lineup in EuroNASCAR Pro for Team Bleekemolen, the 69 and the 72 cars, both strong. Word to Thomas Dombrowski as well in the 66, of course. But Sebastian Bleekemolen, of course, an absolute veteran in Porsche Cup racing. Also a class winner at events like the Sebring 12 Hours and Petit Le Mans. Multiple-time Clio Cup championship, and debuted in EuroNASCAR in 2019. The 72 car this year is in the hands of Vittorio Garelli, the 2013 AutoGP champion. Meanwhile, Giorgio Maggi has made his way to Andre Viegold.
Thank you so much. Giorgio Maggi, the reigning junior trophy champion. I bet you want to defend their title, but the overall championship must be the goal this year after a successful season in 2022.
Of course, we had a lot of promises last year, so I think we have a good chance for the title this year. We look really strong, and yeah, we'll see where the race goes.
Consistency is key, is something Vladimiro said about this racetrack and this series. Do you agree with him?
Not only the racetrack, and it's really the whole season. Is consistency is really important, especially here. One bad lockup and the tires are really gone, so you have to be really careful, and at the same time we have to be aggressive to get to the next position. But yeah, consistency is really key for the championship.
And that's my question. When you're, let's say, 4th or 5th place, you know every position is 1 point, and then you make the big jump to 5 points difference when you win a race. How much risk are you willing to take to get one more position, or do you stay there and say, okay, I get the big points and look at the bigger picture?
Oh, well, it depends really on a lot of factors, especially on how much, if you think you're much faster or not. If it's really close and you think your tire's on the limit, this tire's on the limit, even depending on if it's Saturday or Sunday race, you take the risk or not. There's a lot of factors playing a game.
All right, thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you.
There you go, you heard Giorgio Maggi's aspirations for the season. To be honest with you, I think that this year the junior classification and the overall championship battle could end up being one of the same. Just look at the front row of that grid. Siortzis and Hazemans both registered for the junior trophy, as is Giorgio Maggi. 3 cars in the top 6 are driven by junior class runners, and 2 of them are on the front row of the grid. Feels like a bit of a youth movement this year in EuroNASCAR Pro. I believe last year I became too old to drive in Junior Trophy if I decided to go NASCAR racing, which is an upsetting statistic for myself. But there are a lot of bright young talents here in EuroNASCAR. Here's another one, Gianmarco Ercoli.
Thank you so much. Gianmarco Ercoli, last year you were in the championship battle. You had an amazing battle with Alon Day, a late clash with Giorgio Maggi in Croatia, now a long winter break. Recharge the batteries, how do you feel?
So a lot of months after the last race of the other season. Now we start with the objective of the season. I'm happy of the qualifying. I prefer starting the first lane, not second, but okay, now there are 2 races. It's important to arrive always on podium for take good points for all the season. It's only the first race. I understand difficult yesterday after the second practice. I think it's difficult to have a good speed in qualifying, but I think in the middle of the race I can have a very good speed for take the podium. So now I management my speed in the first laps, and after I try to overtake the other driver.
Grazie mille, good luck.
Thank you.
Of course, Ercoli came 3rd in last year's championship. The winner of the EuroNASCAR Pro Series from last year, now a 4-time champion, Alon Day. He's not here to defend his title this year. Alexander Graf, who was runner-up last year, also not making a return. So Gianmarco Ercoli, the highest positioned of the championship contenders from last season, to have made a return. We have supplemented some of the more experienced drivers for some young blood, but here are some of the more experienced drivers with Andre.
Drivers, the commentators say about you two. We start with you. What is this?
This is a cooling vest. It's way too hot. No, it's not way too hot, but you know, in Belgium, I don't think we had above 10 degrees so far this year. And now it's like 25, 26, and then that means in the car it's 70, so it's to keep me a bit cool.
You will be back. You are a two-time champion. You had a long break, but what are your objectives? What are your goals in this season?
Oh, the objective, you know, we don't come to play in 10th position or in 8 like we are today. We want to win the championship, but obviously we had some problems, technical. But in the qualifying, the car seemed really good. I think for the race we will be good. But to win a championship, you don't need to win every race. So I know what to do, and we're here to win.
You two were in championship battles in the past. You always ended up second. What do you want to do this year to beat him and the other guys?
This year I want my ring, you know, because he has too much ring. Well, but you can see it's an old guy, so he needs some stuff to be cool. No, obviously for both of us it was an hard qualification session, but you know, like he said, you don't win the championship at the first race, so we will see if we have the pace and if we are able to get in front. We will see.
All right, thank you so much, guys, and have fun.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anthony Kumpen and Frédéric Gabillon. I like that interview combination. Anthony, incidentally, his son has just started go-karting himself. So he's got the benefit of coaching from Anthony Kumpen, also Sophie Kumpen, who of course was an absolute karting maestro when she was competing. And her son up to something this weekend, Miami. Oh yeah, Max Verstappen. So I feel as though Anthony Kumpen's son, who's just starting out in go-karts this year, has quite the coaching stuff backing his career. One to watch for sure, and Anthony's been saying already, you know, I reckon that my son is already showing a lot more potential than me. Could we see Kumpen and Verstappen together on Formula One at one point? That would be a mighty contingent of Benelux racers. We go down to Andre Viegold.
I'm here with Mark Goossens. I had Anthony Kumpen and Frédéric Gabillon in an interview before you. A lot of experience there, but you are also one of the experienced drivers on the grid. What do you think? Experience against a lot of young blood in the first row. What is the key?
I'm not sure what is the key. It's going to be very exciting going into turn 1, maybe even more in turn 2. But no, like you say, with Anthony and with Lucas Lazer, Fred Gabillon, there's a lot of experienced guys over there. So I think the danger zone is more in the front with the younger boys. But they are very talented. They are very smart, and you know, that's the fun part of this championship, is that you have a mix of everything, and it's close racing, so it's good.
You have a great looking car for sure, but how does it drive?
Actually, it was very good. The pop-art car was very good in qualifying. Unfortunately, I had one track limit that cost me some time, and then because we weren't sure if I was going to make it to Super Pole, we did another 3 laps. So, you know, in Super Pole, I already abused my tires a little bit too much, I think, but. You know, we think we have a good race car, so I will let you know tonight when it's all over.
All right, thank you so much, Dan. Have fun.
Thank you, man.
There's the Goose, Mark Goossens, winner of the Formula 4 Festival all the way back in 1991, parlayed that into an almighty racing career. And great to have him here with the EuroNASCAR Championship. Best EuroNASCAR result, 5th in 2020 in the overall standings, having taken a race win on the way. We also saw that Claudio Remeggio Capelli hasn't shaved over the winter, which is good to know. He's still got the best beard in motorsport. Andre Viegold having a giggle at my expense.
Luca Lasser here. I'm really happy to see you back in a racing suit and not just managing the team from the pits. You're back. Are you happy about that, to be back on the race car?
Yeah, for sure. I'm very happy to be here with my proper team, and but my aim is just to be 100% concentrate on the team and to help some young drivers, because I have 2 young drivers on pro category, and I'm totally focused on that. So yes, for sure, I'm really happy. But it's not just a game, you know, and totally free for me. It's a part of my job, and I will do for sure all the best for the team and for my teammate.
driving in the car, managing the team, being a mentor for your young drivers. How much sleep do you get on a race weekend?
Yeah, and this weekend I'm also engineer, so so I manage all the setting on the car, and but I'm totally passionate by that. For sure, I'm a little bit tired and 100% ready just to compete, you know, as a normal driver. But it's part of my job, and I love that. So I will do for sure the best. I think the race will be long, very long, with a lot of degradation, and we'll see what's happened for sure.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
De rien, à bientôt.
There we go. That sounds like a man wearing many hats then this weekend. Lucas Leclerc, who was a double champ in the forebearer to EuroNASCAR, the race car Euro Series, back in 2009 and 2010. So he's been doing this for quite a long time. He was also the 1999 French Formula Renault champion. So Lucas Leclerc with a lot of experience under his belt, a driver that we can always rely on to be competitive when he shows up. And we'll see how his campaign goes across the season. Continue to see Liam Hazeman's readying up for the race. We're just over 15 minutes away from the start command. Of course, we get the full drivers start your engines and even the US national anthem usually at these EuroNASCAR events. It very much provides the essence, the flavor of American stock car racing competition, all the pomp, the circumstance, the festivities of NASCAR competition. And there is a generational photograph being taken. Twan Hazeman's father to both Liam and Loris in picture there. Liam and Loris Hazeman's brothers, and of course Loris, a champion NASCAR racer himself, also competed last year in the NASCAR Cup Series over in America with the Team Hazelberg outfit, and this year coaching Liam Hazeman's in his first full season in EuroNASCAR Pro. So very exciting times for the Hazeman's family as Liam makes his first outings in the Pro Championship. The cameraman has been retrieved to Andre Viegold.
Thank you so much. This is Jill Inster. He's not racing now in EuroNASCAR Pro, but in EuroNASCAR 2. But very interesting. There's Loris Hazeman, a two-time champion here. And I've heard he's teaching you a little bit about his secrets, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm super happy to have him around me. Yeah, he's a two-time champion, so I have him around me, and he helped me like with some keys on the track and helped me already a lot, even for free practice yesterday.
You're in a new team, Hendrix Motorsport. You have Liam Hazeman as your teammate. I saw you doing crazy stuff in little cable cars and stuff like this. What's going on there?
Yeah, so we promote a little bit. We were the two teammates, and we promote a little bit. We do some games, do some cool content for the fans, and yeah, it's not just racing and having cool laps here on the racetrack, but yeah, we try to promote also the rest of racers.
Where can we see the video in the end?
It will be on YouTube, hopefully on my Instagram and his Instagram if the video will not be too long, but for sure on YouTube.
All right, thank you so much. See you later.
Thank you.
There you go, these young drivers and their content strategies, eh? Goodness me, you could engineer your car, got to engineer your Instagram account. Oh, goodness me, motor racing's become difficult over the years, hasn't it? 14 minutes and 30 seconds until this one gets started then. Or rather, until the engines get started. Cars will very soon be rolling after that. You can see it's already, some are making their way away from the grid itself as we await the commands. And as we've already seen, plenty of drivers being diligently herded by our media crew down there on the grid. We'll hear from another driver very shortly, I'm sure. Just to say as well, Gianmarco Ercoli, of course, we've spoken to him. His teammate this year in EuroNASCAR 2 is Alberto Nasca. So if you're here to watch Alberto Nasca in EuroNASCAR 2 later on, remember, he's not in the 88 anymore. He'll be running the 54 car, the former Superstock 1000 motorcycle racing champ, with a new car for 2023.
Sì, stai andando a... Sì, ok? Ok, perfetto, chiaro, va bene.
So then you can see that the drivers are lined up by their cars. We will, of course, have the national anthem of Spain and I believe the United States as well in the build to this race. And you see there Chevrolet Camaro being used as safety car for this one. We usually have a American-themed safety car most weekends, and that's what we've got here today as well. See the Mustang insignia on the Team Blake-Molen 69 car. Of course, a few different body styles on the grid, but all of these cars, mechanically speaking, are much of a muchness. Small block, 400 brake horsepower engines. But you can make cosmetic changes depending on which brand you want to show allegiance to. You've got the Chevrolet, Toyota, and Ford body styles, as well as the EuroNASCAR FJ. So you see there some of the banter going on between the 69 and the 18 crews. I'm sure that may seize up a little bit as the as we get closer to the command. I did just see, I believe, the 72 car making its way to the grid late. Of course, that 72 car is Vittorio Garelli's machine. Garelli, his EuroNASCAR 2 teammate, had a bit of an accident this morning in qualifying, so that car has had to be quite hastily repaired after an off for Mikael Blake-Molen. So I think that car is late to the grid on account of needing some hasty repair work. Blake-Molen collected in an incident at turn 1 this morning. He's all right, and thankfully the car is too. But for Vittorio Garelli, I'm sure he spent that outlap toward the grid sizing the car up for any potential mechanical foibles that may have developed, or any repairs that needed to be further checked over. But every impression we're getting is that the car is a-okay, so Garelli will push on unabated. So as a reminder, your front row for today is certainly a youth movement in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. 2 drivers from the junior trophy element of EuroNASCAR Pro, 2 graduates from EuroNASCAR 2. Vladimir Osiortsis, who's pulling double duty and has pole position, the first time ever that we've had 2 pole positions in 2 different classes, EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 pole position on the same day for Vladimir Osiortsis. He'll start on pole position alongside Liam Hazemans. Liam Hazemans, who of course is last year's EuroNASCAR 2 champion, a title that he took in the very last race of the year. Had not led the title race at any point in the build to the Croatia season finale last year. Wasn't really a championship favourite before Zolder either. Was there or thereabouts, but wasn't really a favourite. Came on so strong in his rookie year in car racing, did Liam Hazemans. Now into year 2 and looking to further himself up the rankings. I understand we have the national anthems.
escuchamos el himno nacional.
So the anthems, plural, have been played here, which means we are one step closer to the command. You see the drivers now getting ready. And there is Anthony Kumpen suiting and booting up. So Giorgio Maggi getting into the 18 car there we saw on the main straight. Sebastian Bleekemolen getting himself ready as well. Sebastian with one of his stronger starting positions in recent times. He'll be looking to try and make his way up the order in the first couple of corners. Of course, here at the circuit Ricardo Tormo, the first couple of corners are often a pinch point. Turn 1 isn't that slow of a corner, but of course there's a lot of runoff there, and some drivers choose to exploit that on the first lap, so you end up with sometimes 2, 3, 4 wide coming out of turn 1, and then turn 2 is effectively practically a hairpin in profile. So it can get very close for comfort on the run through the first few corners of the lap here at Valencia. Of course, this circuit, plenty of corners, 14 turns across 2.5 miles. You've also got to remember that the tyres on these cars have to last them all the way until the checkered flag on Sunday. So they've already gone through a qualifying and in some instances a super pole. They've got this race and tomorrow's race. 18 laps today, 18 laps tomorrow. And with so many traction zones coming out of slow corners around this circuit, I think that he who preserves their rear tyres best may come up trumps towards the end of the day. There's the 65 car of Ricardo Romagnoli from the Club Motorsport team. I believe we might have the announcement coming a little early, am I hearing? No, so I think we are sticking with the time stated on the screen. So we've still got a couple of minutes before we get this one started here at the circuit Ricardo Tormo. This track hosting its 10th anniversary festivities for the Valencia NASCAR Fest. Of course, this event continues to be hugely popular. Of course, after an amount of time where fans were not able to come to the circuit, we've seen a surge of interest in people just keen to get back trackside again after an extended break. Of course, next month, the American Speed Fest at Brands Hatch we're sure that that will be a festival unlike any other. It's usually the biggest atmosphere event of the year at Brands Hatch, and that can be said for most of our circuits in general. EuroNASCAR always brings the show, always brings the excitement. And that extends beyond the actual racing as well. There's always some wonderful Americana, classic American car clubs, even other American race car demos as well. And some more pom-poms and circumstance as well. Countdown to the command then is just about 90 seconds away. There we see Vittorio Gorelli's 72 car. He will be hoping that everything is okay with that car. Will have been listening intently to any knock or vibration in the car. On that run around the circuit towards the start line. Gorelli will be eager to start his year on a better note than he had last year. But here we are. Start command is coming in just a few seconds. Let's go down there.
Ese último gesto, yo tenemos un magnífico Gran Marshal, un hombre que lleva muchas horas delante de los micros, don Jesús Álvarez, presentador de televisión. Bienvenido a esta casa, Jesús.
¿Qué tal? Bien hallados, un placer estar aquí con todos vosotros en esta carrera NASCAR. Tuve oportunidad una vez en Phoenix de ver una y saludar al mismísimo Podium, que corría en uno de los equipos, o sea que encantado.
Verdaderamente ahora la gente, la voz de la experiencia, que va a ser quien nos va a dar la gran frase y la gran salida. Esta es la mítica frase.
Drivers, start your engines now.
There we go. And Julie, the sound of V8s begins to reverberate around the circuit. Ricardo Tormo, 28 cars set to take the start for this, the first race of the EuroNASCAR Pro season. You see there the light shining as well on the Chevy Camaro safety car, or pace car, as I should say. And this 2.5 mile circuit Ricardo Tormo. 14 corners, as we have mentioned, turn 1 and 2. Both are left-handers, as a majority of this circuit is. It's a anti-clockwise circuit. So those right side tyres will be put through a lot of load over the course of this lap. And there we see the circuit from above. 2.488 miles, 4 kilometers. And we will be racing 18 laps around this circuit today, 18 more for EuroNASCAR Pro tomorrow. Of course, we've got EuroNASCAR 2 later on this evening racing as well. And 14 corners for these drivers to navigate. Pace car is rolling and the field will follow suit then as we get ready for our first race of the 2023 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series season. It is going to be Vladimiros Siortsis on pole position in the number 5 car. Siortsis lining up alongside Liam Hasemans, 2 EuroNASCAR 2 grads and the EuroNASCAR 2 champion on the outside of the front row. Vittorio Gorelli is there, thankfully, and will line up third alongside Gianmarco Ercoli, who came third in last year's championship. He'll be looking to go at least 1, probably 2 better this year. Sebastian Blake-Molen in 5th position. 2 Team Blake-Molen cars in the top 6. And Race Art Technologies' Giorgio Maggi lines up 6. Frederic Gabillon, we heard from him earlier on, he'll be lining up 7th. Alongside him, Anthony Kumpen in the 24 on his full-time return to EuroNASCAR. Lucas Lasser on row 5. He'll be alongside the 56 in the hands of Mark Goosens. The goose is loose. Row 6, Ulysse Delso in the number 14 alongside Ricardo Romagnoli. And that runs you through our top 12. The rest of the order on row 7, Thomas Chrysonis in the 46 alongside Advet Yoda in the number 1. Row 8 of the grid will be Martin Dubek and Massimilio Lanza. 7 and 88 cars on row 8. The 55 and the 40 are Meta and Lambert on row 9. Kenka Miura and Dario Casso, the 74 and the 8 on row 10. Row 11 is the Victor Motorsport, actually 2 Victor Motorsport cars, or rather, no, my apologies, a Victor Motorsport and a Marco Stipp car. Miguel Gomez in the 48 and Loretti in the number 9. The next row, row 12, Team Blaker Molens, Dombrovski, the 66 car, alongside Toffel in the 34. Dorchikova in the number 90, the Bulgarian team entry with the ARC Bratislava team manager, Dorchikova, alongside Atianace in the 27. And our final row of the grid, Christoph Lenz in the 58 car, who hopefully is there. That car was quite damaged earlier on. Should be lining up alongside Alina Leubnegger in the Racing Fuel Motorsport entry. So 28 cars are lining up in 2x2 formation now to go racing, and your front row of the grid will have Vladimiros Tsiotsis and Liam Hazemans doing battle. We saw this scrap happen a few times in last year's EuroNASCAR 2 category. Liam Hazemans also did some running in Pro last year, but this is his first full season in EuroNASCAR Pro, the reigning EN2 champion. It's the very first race in EuroNASCAR Pro for Vladimiros Tsiotsis, and he is our pole sitter. Can the Cypriot convert pole into a win? He's won here at Valencia before. 2x2 rolling formation. And our first race of the season is go. They're rolling in Valencia, and it's a good start from Liam Hazemans. It's Hazemans that leads then towards the first corner. Tsiotsis a bit slow to get off the line by the looks of it, or a bit slow to pull the throttle down anyway. Some cars running wide there, I believe one of them. Well, we'll focus on that in a minute. I think Anthony Kumpen went wide, but all the way around the outside for the lead at turn 2. That looked to be Gianmarco Ercoli, but he hasn't managed to execute the move. So Ercoli was trying to find a way past Liam Hazemans around the outside at 1 and 2. But he has to settle for second place. Ercoli it is then, who sits behind Liam Hazemans, who is our race leader on lap number 1 of the season. Hazemans from Ercoli, from Tsiotsis, our top 3. Then it's Giorgio Maggi and Vittorio Gorelli in 4th and 5th place. So Maggi's had a good start as well. And it's good to see that Vittorio Gorelli's car is running at full speed, so we understood the car was repaired fully and that he was confident, and sure enough, the car seems to be running okay for now. 18 laps of this race then, and the first lap of the season already almost in the books. We've got some 2 wide further back in the pack there. Oh, and Hazemans drifting wide there on the exit of turn 12. Alluded to this in qualifying. Of course, you want to try and use a bit of runoff, but going through turn 12, you then tighten up your entry into 13, which can make the corner a bit of a tighter radius, and that can therefore affect your turn in, and that in turn will affect your tyre degradation. Liam Hazemans for Hendricks Motorsport leading the way then from Gianmarco Ercoli. Let's see how long it takes before Vladimiros Tsiotsis tries to get back some of those positions. Few cars drifting wide further back. Anthony Kumpen said he's here to win. He's not here to be in 8th place where he started the race. That's exactly where he still is though. Didn't make up any positions on the first lap. Kumpen has won championships here before. He knows what to do to work his way up the order, but also a wily racer will know that this can't be won on the first lap. Tsiotsis though, already investigating his possibilities. from the back of this leading battle. Giorgio Maggi also wanting a podium position. Of course, 3 of these 4 cars are also fighting for junior trophy honours, including our race leader Hasemans. Coley is the only one in the top 4 who isn't a junior trophy runner. And he's hardly an old oak himself, is he? There's a great mix of experience and youth in that top 10. Of course, Vittorio Girelli also fairly young driver. Came up through the junior single-seater ladder in the early 2010s, and then you've got the likes of Leclerc, Sebastian Bleekemolen, Anthony Kumpen, Frederick Gabillon, and Mark Goossens from 6th place until 10th. That is a very experienced back half of the top 10. We had one non-starter, incidentally, and unfortunately that was Christoph Lenz, so the 58 car wasn't repaired in time to take the start. That car was quite badly smashed up in EM2 quali earlier on. Driver okay, sadly not out for the race. We are on lap 3. Coley is yet to really make a move, and I think that's in part because Siortzis is making it abundantly clear that half an opportunity will see the Cypriot driver get past the Italian. Siortzis took just the 1 win last year, and it was here at the circuit Ricardo Tormo. He'll be looking to repeat that feat at Ricardo Tormo and then try and get a win at every other circuit on the EuroNASCAR calendar. And always one of the quickest drivers in the paddock last year. Would oftentimes be setting times good enough for pole position or a front row start in EuroNASCAR Pro while running in EuroNASCAR 2. So having him up in the Pro category this year is very exciting indeed. He is still running in EuroNASCAR 2 this year. So he will lock horns with off-time rival last year, Alberto Nasca, later on in the day. He's got to worry about the race that's ongoing for the moment, and continues to pursue Gianmarco Ercoli down the main straight. Goes Hasemans, who now has a few car lengths over Ercoli. Went wide at a couple of corners on this lap to Gianmarco Ercoli, and that's allowed Siortzis to really close in and has allowed Hasemans to get what is more or less a second's worth of gap between himself and the 54 car. Giorgio Maggi keeping a watching brief there in 4th place, and Girelli looking racy there as well. I think everyone is just keeping their powder a little bit dry at the moment, as close as they all are together. They also know that any hasty manoeuvres could cost them so early in the race. Vittorio Girelli will no doubt remember getting stranded at turn 2 here last year in a big crash. And that seemed to create a knock-on effect of what became a very difficult year for the driver of the 72. Although last year, of course, he was in a different car. Moved over to Bleekemolen during the off-season. Quite a few driver switches or new drivers hopping into cars. Of course, the 64 that last year was driven by Alexander Graf is this year the domain of Lucas Leclerc. And the 2-time champ in the precursor to the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series is running well at the moment, up in 6th place. He's got to worry about Sebastian Bleekemolen behind. I'm interested to see what happens if and when Girelli and Bleekemolen go wheel to wheel. Bleekemolen very much with a leadership role, of course, in the team. But he's still a racer at heart, and I think he'll give Vittorio a run for his money. Thomas Chrysonis is moving his way up the order a little bit. He's moved up to 15th, further back in the pack. The Greek driver who came up through the Junior Saloon Car Championship in the UK. Making his way up from a slightly lower position on the grid. Has moved over to Marco Stipp Motorsport this year, another of the driver transfers. So Hazeman's had a second last time, but the gap is down to 0.7 of a second last time across the line. I think that potentially Coley and Siortsis are galvanising just a little bit to make sure that Hazeman's doesn't completely disappear up the road. And that is always important. Getting past for second is one thing, but if you do so at the expense of your victory aspirations, then that can be a little bit of a fool's game. Certainly the top three are starting to build a gap over Giorgio Maggi. We've got one of the Speedhouse cars slow and low. I think that was the 14 potentially of Ulis Del So. Looked like he might have a puncture or damage of some description. A huge shame for Del So if that is the case. Although Ulis has just crossed the line actually, so it might be one of the other Speedhouse cars. It could be, we'll see who drops down the order. Looks like it might be Lambert in the 40 car, so it was a Speedhouse car, but it was the number 40. So that's a real shame for Neo Lambert, the French youngster who is in the junior category and has indeed retreated to pit lane. We also haven't had Atiennes over the line. In fact, he's just crossed the line. We're going to get a shot of something here. I think we're looking to maybe go to a replay. We'll see if we can catch that. But we got side-by-side action there going through shot. That's, I think, one of the Speedhouse cars making moves there further back in the pack. Meanwhile, Vladimir Siortsis with getting the power down nicely out of turn 11, but not quite able to draw alongside at turn 12. Gianmarco Ercoli, I think, is having to focus a lot more on defending than pursuing Liam Hazeman's at this stage, so it's going perfectly for Hazeman's. I think Hazeman's comes into this year with a lot more confidence about him. He's still humble and excited to be here, but he's got a season under the belt in cars now. He came in as a complete car racing rookie last year and absolutely excelled. We now get a replay of what happened to the 40 car, and that was Kenko Miura that Neo Lambert went up against. There's Garelli getting past Giorgio Maggi, so Garelli has managed to make a move there. And now Giorgio Maggi under threat as well from the 64 and from Sebastian Blakemolen. So Giorgio Maggi loses out to Lasser and Blakemolen as well. And, well, while the party's going, Anthony Kumpen says, mind if I come? Kumpen around the outside at turn 4. A lot of positions lost in quick succession there by Giorgio Maggi. It's just that easy. Vittorio Garelli got by, compromised Maggi's run through turn 1. And then everybody else spilled by as well. Giorgio Maggi then down to 8th position. Started the lap in 5th. In fact, Maggi, started the lap in 4th and now sits in 8th place. Of course, we were saying before that Maggi was seemingly slightly holding this pack up, or at least he was falling away from Ercoli and Siortsis. It'll be interesting to see now whether Garelli, Lasser and Blakemolen, and potentially Anthony Kumpen as well, whether these 4 can now close in on that battle for second place. Of course, Siortsis is still there behind Ercoli, but looking at the body language of that number 5 car, I'm not getting the impression he intends to hang around and study the sponsors for too long on the back of Ercoli's 54. I think he's done all of the reading he can do. Of course, the last thing he wants to do is outbrake himself and make it a Braille reading session. But if Ercoli and Siortsis continue to scrap in that manner, then Garelli could well bring himself and his friends into the party. There goes Sebastian Blakemolen at turn 2, up the inside of Lucas Lasser. A bit of a hip check between the two of them. And Lasser making use of the runoff area on the outside of turn 2 there to make sure he holds his position. A little bit of fender on fender. seems like both cars have got out of that okay. Of course, they've held each other up now, so Garelli has got a few car lengths, and Anthony Kumpen is now very much involved with this scrap. Kumpen, who's been transferring out of management and back into driving, is certainly once again showcasing his speed and his knowledge of these EuroNASCAR machines, albeit I think for now he's thinking more about the long game. Of course, if anything, he's one of the few drivers that can afford to take the gloves off to a greater extent in these races, because unlike most of the other cars in EuroNASCAR Pro, his 24 doesn't actually have a driver for EuroNASCAR 2. So his car isn't needed later on this afternoon when the EuroNASCAR 2 race begins, but of course the repair bills directly from his pocket, I feel, Anthony Kumpen, so he won't be taking undue risks or displaying any lack of mechanical sympathy for his car. There is Maggi in 8th place and hasn't really been able to latch on to the back of Anthony Kumpen. Is now under pressure from Marc Goossens and Frédéric Gabillon. Meanwhile, a penalty has been displayed to the car number 40. That's Neo Lambert for causing that collision. So he was judged to be at fault in the collision between himself and Kenko Miura. He is still circulating, incidentally, I understand, Lambert, but after some time in the pits. But Kenko Miura, of course, actually continued on unabated. Nonetheless, Lambert was judged to be at fault there. So Maggi in the 18 car. I still kind of flinch at the fact that that car's now the number 18, because of course last year the 18 was very Swiss in its livery. But this team and many others have gone for the new look. Of course, Marc Goossens, he referred to his own car as the pop art car on the grid, so it's nice to know the official terminology within Cal Racing for that machine. And Marc Goossens, one of the most decorated drivers on the grid. I mentioned already that he won the Formula Ford Festival at Brands Hatch all the way back in 1991. Went up through the junior single-seaters. And then became a winner in Belcar, the Japanese GT Championship. And lots more besides. He was part of the factory driver lineup for Dodge, or SRT, when the Viper went GTE racing about a decade ago. Oh, and one of the Team Blake-Molen cars has come to a halt there on the outside of turn 8. That's Thomas Dombrowski's car, and through, while we're looking at that, has gone Marc Goossens. So Goossens has made a position, and Giorgio Maggi also loses out to Frédéric Gabillon. So Giorgio Maggi has dropped from 4th to 10th in about 3 laps. I have to wonder if he's nursing something of an issue, or maybe he's taken the best out of his tyres early on. Maybe a lock-up or something like that has caused an issue. But clearly Giorgio Maggi not finding the same speed that we've seen from him previously in races. Just tried to take a wider berth into the corner to hit the apex on the outside, and then ended up having to collect some oversteer and lost a position as a result. Liam Hasemans fires out of the final corner in the lead, and Marco Ercoli just about holds on to 2nd place. The gap this time by is 1.9 seconds, so Hasemans continues to systematically manage his lead. Gianmarco Ercoli continues to try and hold off Siortzis, who's got a good run towards turn 2, nose to the inside, but can't quite get it done. Absolutely nothing But Siortis could have done better there. Got a good run out of the corner, but Coley just had the car ahead by the time they got to turn 2. But looking at the margin from rear bumper to front bumper in this battle for second, Siortis has absolutely no intention of staying behind for long. Now, let's see if he can move up the inside, maybe at turn 8. He looked like he had a run. Looks like maybe a little more top-end speed for Coley, to me. Looks like he gets a slightly better run kind of from 3rd gear onwards in these 4-speed cars. While in theory, all of the machinery is identical in specification. Of course, all cars are different one way or another. Worth noting as well that this race, the fastest laps in the race determine the grid for tomorrow, and at the moment, Gianmarco Ercole would be on pole position. He'd be on pole position by 1,000th of a second. His best lap of the race is a 1:42.823. Liam Hasemans' best lap so far, 1:42.824. So I'm sure Hasemans will get a hurry up at some point through the radio to say, come on, let's get that pole position in. He needs to find all of 1,000th of a second in order to steal away that pole position from Gianmarco Ercole. Ercole, who doesn't really have the wherewithal to focus on lap time at the moment because he's too busy trying to maintain second position, driving through the mirrors. Up the inside goes Vladimiros Siortis once again. Keep showing that nose. We've had a track limits warning for the car number 24, so Anthony Kumpen getting a little bit of a slap on the wrist. He's fallen off the back of that 3-car train that's running in 4th place, and interestingly, Vittorio Gorelli has not been able to close in on this scrap for 2nd place. Coley fighting for traction on the outside of turn 8, manages to just about get the car pointed straight, and Siortis applying pressure now to the back of Gianmarco Ercole, making his intentions abundantly clear. Any way he could provide greater clarity to Gianmarco Ercole is by hiring a skywriter. I'd wager that Gianmarco Ercole would be too busy to read the message. Defending hard from Vladimiros Siortis at the moment. He is defending in such a way that he doesn't really scrub too much speed. Often, when someone takes a defensive line, of course, they narrow up their entry into a corner, they slow their apex speed, everything else, but Coley is managing to defend without really compromising his pace. Using a little bit of runoff to do so, again, just drifting wide. Siortis has had a couple of goes here at turn 6. Will he give it another shot this time? It seems to be his favoured opportunity, but no move made on this occasion. On lap 13 of the race, the time is ticking down for Siortis, who does get a good run out of 6. The kink at 7 leads into the braking zone at turn 8, and not quite close enough for a move. Coley once again just folds to the inside line to ensure that Siortis can't find a way through. I think Coley, in the back of his mind, has realised that a race win is probably not forthcoming here. At this point, Hasemans, 2 seconds cleared, just needs to control the situation. I will be interested to see whether Hasemans is given the directive to try and go for pole position or not. Of course, the argument could be made that he's better off just saving the tyres there at the sharp end of the order. All positive for Hasemans, of course, because as it stands, he would start second in tomorrow's race. And not only that, but he's probably going to start with fresher tyres than Ercole and Siortis, both of whom are really torturing the rear tyres out of corners. We've seen both of them sideways trying to find traction, and Hasemans has just been smoothly driving at the sharp end of the order, managing and expanding his gap. Already a champion after just one season in car racing, Liam Hasemans. Came up through a few years of karting, but quite late into go-karting, because before that he was rather solid at tennis. If he could take the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Grand Slam by becoming a champion in EuroNASCAR Pro, I'm sure he would be most elated, as would Loris, his brother, Antoine Hasemans, but they've got a long road ahead of them before they can consider title contendership. But this, certainly a good way to start for Liam Hasemans. He's just got to do the next 4.5 laps without any issue to claim his first win in EuroNASCAR Pro. Siortzis looked particularly close to Ercole there as they headed towards turn 12. Don't think any move was made. Understand that Ercole has been given a warning as well for track limits. We have seen him kind of use the outside of certain corners to defend by not scrubbing any speed. Turn 2 in particular, he's been doing a lot of that, so I'm not too surprised to hear that he's had a warning. Meanwhile, Sebastian Bleekemolen has managed to get past Lucas Lasserre. Okay, so apologies, I didn't clock the position swap there, but yes, Bleekemolen has gotten past Lasserre as they deal some lap traffic. I believe that is Atienase in the Double V racing car that they've been lapping. And Siortzis has a very good run through turn 1. Does he have the inside line into turn 2? He does, but he can't quite get the car alongside. Every time it looks like he's got the run, Ercole, either by having a little more grunt in the higher gears or by braking later, or perhaps a combination of both, is just about staying ahead of Vladimiros Siortzis. A few final warnings are being dished out further down the timing screen for track limits as well, including one for Anthony Kumpen, as well as for Romagnoli in the 65 car. Gianmarco Ercole will be hoping not to end up on that list as well. So we are on lap 15 of this race. When Hasemans crosses the line this time, it'll be 3 laps to go. .8 seconds, the gap between Hasemans in the lead and Ercole behind in second place. Less than 3/10 between the top between second and third place, though. At no point in this race has Ercole had even an iota of reprieve, courtesy of Vladimiros Siortzis, who managed to get the nose to the inside, and now it's a drag race, but he compromised his run out of the corner a little bit there with a bit of a slip. In the slipstream of Gianmarco Ercole, will he make a move into turn 1? I don't think he's quite close enough. He's not. Looks a bit taily as well through turn 1. Is again trying to get the run into turn 2. Again shows the nose. But once more, Gianmarco Ercole manages to hold off Vladimiros Siortzis. Both drivers are doing wonderfully here. Siortzis could just hip check Ercole, could make a lunge, and again, every time he feels like his car isn't far enough alongside, he'll pull out of the move, as we saw there. They're side by side into turn 6, and still no move made by Siortzis, but you can see each corner. As soon as he abandons the overtake, he tries to get the best exit possible for the turn that follows. Siortzis driving very well indeed, but he's got quite the adversary here in Gianmarco Ercole. That battle for 4th place still raging as well, with Gorelli in 4th and Sebastian Bleekemolen behind him in 5th. So Team Bleekemolen running P4, P5 at the moment. We'll see if Bleekemolen makes a move towards the end, as Siortzis almost got to the inside of Ercole there. In this last lap, it's just started to feel a little more likely, hasn't it? We've seen Siortzis get a little bit closer. The quarter panels have started to merge a little bit, and again goes to the inside, does Siortzis, but no move made. Ercole's got to be careful there, running out wide, and on this occasion the running out wide has actually cost him, because to the inside with a nose ahead is Vladimiros Siortsis, but again, a bit more pull seemingly for Kohli. It's going to be Siortsis, though, on the inside into the first corner. Surely Vladimiros Siortsis has got it done, and he has. He's gotten ahead into P2. Kohli will try and fire back now into turn 2, pulls out of the move. Mutual respect between these two drivers as Vladimiros Siortsis really gets sideways. They're still side by side through turn 3. But Vladimiros Siortsis has finally managed to get himself up into P2. And he now stave off the advances of Gianmarco Kohli. We've seen Kohli seemingly have a little bit more speed at top end, and it's much harder to defend from that than it is to overtake that, I would suggest. We had a car off in the background there at turn 2. It's the 65 car, it's Ricardo Romagnoli, unfortunately. Romagnoli beached in the gravel. Now the question is, will that be covered by local yellows? Because if not, there is an overtime system here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Romagnoli, I think, has failed to get back out of that gravel trap. He's very firmly beached in the gravel. Just caught the end of that incident then on replay, and difficult to know whether that was a mistake or a nudge. Cars crossed the line to begin the final lap, and still no sign of a pace car interruption, so I think we might get to the end of this one without the caution. One more lap then for Liam Hazeman's in the lead. He's 5 seconds clear near as makes no difference of this battle for second place. Vladimiros Siortsis, after navigating for many laps, has found his way past Gianmarco Kohli, and it looks as though Kohli doesn't have a response. Vittorio Girelli and Sebastian Bleekemolen are at lockheads in 4th position as well. I get the feeling that Bleekemolen could yet find a way past Girelli, although of course those two being teammates, you'd hope they'd be a little bit careful with one another. Just a little bit of oven mitts would be ideal. And Bleekemolen really getting the power down there out of the last corner. You saw him fishtailing wildly out of turn 6. There are the team Bleekemolen cars, the 72 and the 69, and Vittorio Girelli for now has the advantage. They're in 4th place, a much better beginning to his season than he had last year here at Valencia. As he goes towards 4th place, I think Sebastian Bleekemolen isn't quite going to be able to do enough, and no one has been able to do enough to best this man, Liam Hazeman. We started calling him Hollywood Hazeman last year after he took the EuroNASCAR 2 title in dramatic fashion, and it's a blockbuster beginning to his career in EuroNASCAR Pro with a first full season campaign this year and a first win in the category. Great job from Hazeman. 2nd place goes to Siortsis. 3rd place for Gianmarco Kohli. Girelli holds on to 4th place ahead of Bleekemolen. Lasser takes 6th place. Anthony Kumpen crosses the line in 7th ahead of the 56 car. Mark Goosens, 9th place for Frederic Gabillon. Drag race to the line for 10th place, I believe that was. That just about fell in favour of Giorgio Maggi, who will round out the junior podium behind Hazeman and Siortsis. And he just beat Ulysse Del So to the line, rounding out the top dozen. Martin Dubeck, Chrysonis in 13th, Armetta in 14th. Massimilio Lanza just crosses the line in 15th ahead of Advet Dioda. Mura in 17th. Casso, Toffel and Gomez will round out our top 20. But Liam Hazeman, I said regarding starting his EuroNASCAR Pro career, of course, he was intending to just do EuroNASCAR 2 last year, but the number 50 seat opened up after the first round of the season last year here. So he competed in most of the EuroNASCAR Pro season last year, but this is his first full season campaign. And he's started off that first full season campaign here in EuroNASCAR Pro with a stellar performance here. Last year's EuroNASCAR 2 champion If it wasn't clear in qualifying, it's clear after the first race. He has absolutely set his market table out here as a championship contender. Of course, with the point system here, he'll claim 40 points and a 5-point deficit over the cars behind, or over Siortzis behind, and then Ercole on 34, Garelli on 33, etc., etc. Getting a look at the start of the race now. And it was there where Hazemans took the lead before they'd even got to the first corner. He was very early on the trigger. Everyone else made their way through that first turn relatively unscathed. That was one of the big moments between the number 40 of Lambert and Kenko Miura. They collided, and unfortunately Lambert came off worse and was judged to be at fault for the incident. Giorgio Maggi started leaking positions. He was up in 4th place, ended up dropping down to P10 before the end of the race. We had a fabulous duel, of course, between Gianmarco Ercole and Vladimiros Siortzis, and Siortzis would come out on top eventually. Some dramas further back in the pack as well. Alina Leubniger losing a position there towards the end of the race. Some good battling as well from Sebastian Blekemolen in this one. He got himself past Lucas Lasser and was challenging his cohort, as it were, Vittorio Garelli of Team Blekemolen. Couple of offs, unfortunately, for the 65 car. Roberto Romagnoli, the second of which saw him embedded in the gravel perpetually. This was the moment, though, that second place was secured for Vladimiros Siortzis. Got a good run out of the last corner. Was alongside Ercole into the first turn. Ercole had no response to the Cypriot driver, who claims his first podium in his first EuroNASCAR Pro race. But Liam Hazemans, having done most of last year's EuroNASCAR Pro campaign in his first season of car racing, comes into season 2 as a car racer with the EuroNASCAR 2 championship in hand, and now begins his first assault on EuroNASCAR Pro with a race win. I'm sure that Father Twan and Brother Loris will both be absolutely elated with the result that Liam Hazemans has had here. "18 laps of racing, and at no point did Hazemans look like anything other than a dominant force. Ended up losing time at the end of the race. The gap was 2.9 seconds, but he was very much in tyre preservation mode, I think, towards the end. Once that gap was out over 3 seconds with 6 or 7 laps left to go, it was clear that all Hazemans needed to do was manage his situation. We managed to get through the first race of the year then without any interruption from the pace car. I understand there was some debris down at turn 10 at one point in the race after the collision between Miura and Lambert. And the marshals did a great job of clearing that without us needing to go to safety car. So the marshals, as always, doing a fabulous job. And we've managed to get through that first race of the year without a caution, without a overtime. Of course, Liam Hazemans profited from overtime a good few times last year. Seemed to be very good at switching it all back on for a 2-lap dash to the finish. That's how he got his first ever win in EuroNASCAR, the EuroNASCAR 2 race at Brands Hatch last year. Managed to move from 3rd to 1st up against Dubek and Alberto Nasca. In fact, no, it's Siortzis and Nasca, I apologise. Last year at Brands. That's how Hazemans got his first win in EuroNASCAR 2 with another Hollywood moment. And this one wasn't so dramatic, but still very impressive from the Dutch youngster. We should start to see podium festivities before too long. And as soon as we can bring you that, we of course will. And Andre Viegold will be working hard to chat to as many drivers as we can. So, one thing to look out for between now and EuroNASCAR 2 is the 58 car, because of course Christoph Lenz didn't take the start for this one after damage that was bestowed upon the car in the previous qualifying session for EN2. So Jack Davidson, Max Mason, the young Australian driver in the 58 car. Let's hope that he can at least get to take the start, but we wait to see what happens there with the 58. I don't think coming into this weekend that everyone was thinking, oh, Hasemans and Siortsis on their first weekends, they'll be up there. We thought they'd be up there, but we didn't think they'd have the front row stronghold. People were talking about the likes of Anthony Kumpen, Gianmarco Ercoli. But the two juniors, the two drivers in their first full season, have really excelled here. And I also know that we've had a few relieved teams. We talk about the car that didn't get to take the start. We've had a few teams that have been walking on eggshells, to say the least of it, with problems on Friday. One of them being the 27 Double V car. Patrick Schober in EuroNASCAR 2 was relieved that he got a good starting grid position. He'll be up there in the top 10 for EuroNASCAR 2 later, sharing the car with Stefano Atienez. And they went through two engines, I understand, on Friday. So the chalice they were drinking from was a little poisoned, but no such problems though for the man who won the race. We have Liam Hasemans with Andre Viegold down at the podium.
Because they were fighting behind, so yeah, just awesome way to start the season. Couldn't be better. And I think also tomorrow just 1,000 of a second of air relief for the pole tomorrow, but yeah, starting second again. We tried to do the same today. All right, I have something for you. So you have the car. You can have it. Oh, crazy! I have a place it here on the car. You see?
There you go. So he's got one win to his name. First of many. I think you're going to need some more room than that, Liam, if we're not careful. There you go. First EuroNASCAR Pro win of the year then, and of his career for Liam Hasemans. Has anyone got a set of pom-poms for Liam? I reckon he'd give it a go if he was asked. Liam is such a character. He does some bartending during the week, I think, to keep himself amused and waged between races, and refers to himself as the best bartender in the Netherlands. And he really is a live wire, brilliant personality, and it's been very fun to watch him progressing, succeeding, and it could well be a very exciting year at the sharp end of EuroNASCAR Pro. So many young talents coming into their own. We've seen great performances from both of them. Siortsis claiming pole position on his first run in EuroNASCAR Pro, and Hasemans also obviously showing out. There, though, are the rest of our podium. Let's go down to Andre Viegold.
Thank you so much. I needed you both guys together because this was the battle of the race. It was amazing in the end. Yeah, let me start with you. Just describe your race.
Yeah, it was first of all difficult at the beginning, as I lost 2 places, but okay, we keep the consistency. We managed to pass Ercole. But okay, I think that all the drivers give their best, and congrats to Ercole and Hesemans for the win. And I am sure that the rest of the championship will be interesting.
For you, you defended like hell. You were sliding around the corners. You were trying everything to keep him behind. What, in the end, made the difference?
So I think very fast in the first laps, so I try to take the lead, but after 5 laps I have big problem, and I now arrive to the first. I battle for defend the position to here, but it's good. It's the first race of the season, calm. The season is very long. Now it's important to take a lot of points, and after I can work a lot of on the setup, and tomorrow I start in pole position. Is good for me, and I try to win tomorrow.
For me, a question to you both. For me, from the outside, it looked like a battle with a lot of respect, with a lot of passion, a lot of aggression, but you kept it fair, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's racing, I think, the correct racing, and yeah, the best wins always. So thanks to Gianmarco for the nice fight, and yes, the rest of the championship will be interesting.
Very quick, your answer?
Yeah, clean battle. I'm happy for the race. It's good. Tomorrow is another day, another race. Battle clean tomorrow. I dream to win, but it's possible to have another good race tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. Great to hear from those 2 combatants who had the battle of the race, Vladimiros Tsiotsis and Gianmarco Ercole. Even though Ercole found himself in 2nd place, he eventually had to concede to Vladimiros Tsiotsis. So many opportunities that Tsiotsis looked like he had, and finally got to capitalise on one into that first corner. And we will soon see those 3 then on the podium. We'll also have podiums for the Junior Trophy and the Challenger Trophy as well. We mentioned that of course, Loris Hesemans will have won the Junior Trophy as well, given he's in that class, and Fabrizio Armetta claiming the Challenger Trophy category today. So Armetta with his first gong of the season, which I'm sure he will be happy about. He finished fairly high in the overall order as well, so I think he's got plenty to be happy about there. There's the helmet then of Liam Hesemans. Of course, he's... And, oh, well, no, we'll go down to Giorgio Maggi, who is there with Andre.
Oh, well, yeah, start was pretty good. Felt like everybody was a bit sleeping, including me. But it's the first race of the season, so I think the green flag caught everyone a bit off guard. But still, it was a good start. Felt good the first 3 laps. And then I realized really that my brakes started to fade away really, really quick. And at one point, I just was pumping the brakes, arrived at the last corner, I think. Really flat out, pumped again, barely made it around the corner. Then I think it was Vittorio already next to me. And then, yeah, it just snowballed into disaster. And yeah, glad I'm still alive.
But overall pace before that happened, are you satisfied with the 18 car?
It's really hard to tell because it's only a few laps and everybody was fighting, but I felt really good. I felt like we already made a small gap behind us, and I managed to really keep up with the guys in front of me. But yeah, it's just 3 laps, so it's really hard to say.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
There you go. So we did suspect that potentially Giorgio Maggi was nursing a problem, and that rather confirms it, doesn't it? Unfortunate for Giorgio, but he'll come back swinging, he'll come back fighting. Noticed on the side of his car, but alongside his NASCAR Whelen Euro Series sticker, he's also got the NASCAR Diamond, the 75th anniversary of NASCAR, of course, ongoing at the moment. Lots of festivities being showcased around the world for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. NASCAR continues to expand globally and celebrating 75 years of NASCAR competition in this 2023 season. Certainly, there'll be lots to celebrate this evening for Liam Hazeman. He'll be focusing on the Sunday race. Of course, he doesn't have to race later. Vladimir Osiortis, though, will be back out later on in EuroNASCAR 2 as the podiums are underway. There's Gianmarco Ercoli then onto the third step of the podium. Vladimir Osiortis, the Super Cypriot, he wears the flag like a cape. And a great drive to second place, but Liam Hazeman with a hop, a skip and a jump to the top of the podium. For the first time in EuroNASCAR Pro, our EuroNASCAR 2 champ has started his campaign in Pro in the best way possible.
Director adjunto del circuito Ricardo Tormo, la entrega del trofeo al tercer clasificado, Gianmarco Ercoli.
There you go, the trophy presentations ongoing then. Gianmarco Ercoli will start on pole position, of course, for tomorrow, so even if he feels a little bit hard done by after losing out in that battle for second with Vladimir Osiortis, I reckon that he will be optimistic looking back on his day's work and what is to come on Sunday. Liam Hazeman claims another pot then. His EuroNASCAR Pro campaign kicks off with a full quota of 40 points.
De los tres pilotos de Gianmarco, de Vladimiros y Liam. Ahí vemos al piloto de Países Bajos, al italiano, y al piloto de Chipre. Y es el momento de celebración.
And
con el champán.
now we get the fun bit, the champagne. He is a bartender, Liam, so he should be able to handle a bottle. Oh, yeah, oh, he's the first one to get it as well. There you go, proof that he does do bartending work. He was the first one to get the cork out of the bottle. Osiortis is still fighting it. Liam's like, come on, need a shower after that race, mate. And I think Vladimiros might have just given up, but fair enough. Liam Hazeman will, I think if anything, the only thing that he can really look back on and go, ah, is the fact that he was 1,000th of a second off pole position. But the outside of the front row served him well yesterday. Or sorry, served him well today and will serve him well again tomorrow, potentially. He should be optimistic. Two more trophies, or two more trophy presentations to come, of course, in the form of the Junior and Challenger trophies. The Juniors with Giorgio Maggi in the third spot, and there he is now, coming out onto the podium. You heard about the brake issue there. He'll be looking to regroup and bounce back on Sunday. And once again, Vladimiros and Liam hop up onto the podium. So, trophy presentations in the juniors. Of course, you see there the new branding on the caps for the Hoosier Tires brand. They've reprofiled their image for this year, our tyre partner, and a very spiffing new logo that is as well. And another trophy for Liam Hazemans in the junior category. We have the Challenger Trophy podium to come as well, and that will assuredly feature 3 different drivers. Got to make sure that someone other than Vladimiros and Liam get some trophies today, yeah. But those 2 drivers will be looking to continue their momentum, and in the form of Giorgio Maggi, I think a driver who's looking to have a slightly better run of things next time. Because it certainly wasn't an ideal race for Giorgio Maggi. And the podium is going on for Challengers Trophy. There's Advait Yoda. Max Lanza joins him on the second step. And Fabrizio Armetta takes the top step in Challenger Trophy. So good showing from all 3. I think Advait, the Indian driver, who has won a EuroNASCAR 2 race before, he considers Brands Hatch to kind of be his home circuit. I believe he does live in the UK, if I remember rightly. He will be looking for good momentum to bring to Brands Hatch for the American Speed Fest. And certainly a 3rd place finish in Challengers in this race is exactly the kind of momentum he needs, but a great win for Fabrizio Armetta, and finished up in the top 15 overall as well. Congratulations to all 3 drivers then. That is our final EuroNASCAR Pro podium for today. You can now take a bit of a breather here at the circuit, Ricardo, Tormo, but not for long, because we do have EuroNASCAR 2 coming up, waiting in the wings for their 15-lap race a little bit later on. It will be 10 past 5, 17:10 local time for their first race of the season. EuroNASCAR 2 will be with us then in just a couple of hours' time, almost exactly 2 hours' time. Make sure you join us for that one. It's set to be an exciting motor race. We've got started with a fabulous EuroNASCAR Pro event. The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series will be back here at Valencia in just a little bit.